Sydney's number one podcast, West Underground.
Hello and welcome to another episode of West Underground. Today is like the best episode ever, literally. It's like a full circle moment for me anyway. We have none other than Aaron Gocs on the podcast. He's on the couch.
Welcome, brother.
Thanks, guys.
This is so Hamish has been like an excited little schoolgirl.
Yeah.
I don't know many excited schoolgirls actually. There was a weird comment to me. But yeah, he's a big fan of Aaron over here. So yeah, he's been jumping around all day.
Yeah, man. I was just saying, like, you know, like when I was a kid, we would know like Kevin Hart's like comedy bits and your bits, and you know, like just to make each other laugh.
Does that weird you out?
It's cool to hear that. Yeah, like it's surprising, but it's cool because I had the same experience with acts. I'm a lot older, so for me it was Carl Barron at school.
Yeah.
He would be on the footy show like the previous night. We'd all come to school the next day and we'd be saying all the Carl Barron lines.
Yeah.
So I know that feeling, like, yeah. But it's I think now with everything spread out, it's rarer to have something where everyone agrees about. I guess it's some of those popular series on Netflix or whatever where everyone's watching them. And
Yeah. Now I want to know like your story, because I thought you just got in the high vis outfit one day after work and then bada bing bada boom, told your stories, and that's how it happened.
Yeah, I can definitely see how it would have looked like that, because that's probably what it looked like to many people. But I'd been doing comedy for a long time. I'm up to about 15 years now. That's in terms of actually performing. And then I like to think I was a funny guy for a lot before that. But you go from just saying it to mates and family to trying it on the public is a different thing. So yeah, 15 years of trying it on the public now.
Wow.
So was that kind of, you knew you wanted to do it from a young age?
No, not really, because I never thought of it as being like a career or anything. And it still really isn't.
Yeah.
I still have to do a day job, but it's in terms of being a fan, I've been a fan of like comedy stuff for a long time. I remember being a young fella at like primary school, and I'm not saying I'm the only one that liked comedy. Everyone liked comedy, but there was the normal sort of things that everyone liked, and I was starting to look into more different sort of things, TV series and movies and things.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, a little bit of stand-up comedy. That was probably a little bit older.
Yeah.
Not many kids that get into stand-up comedy.
Not on the playgrounds
No.
anyway.
So did you how did you invent like the characters and stuff you did in the early days?
A lot of it was things I saw on my work sites, and some of it just created myself as well.
Yeah, you do meet some characters on sites.
Yeah, definitely. You absorb every day things you see. You absorb the way people are and things, and kind of meshes into a character that you create. There's always going to be bits of real life in it, I think.
How did it feel the first time, like when people started to know who you was? What was that like?
Yeah,
to go from like the funny guy on site and then you're getting recognized in the streets.
Yeah, it definitely took a lot of adjustment.
Yeah,
it happened pretty quickly. But it was a bit of a shock. But at the same time, because I'd been at it for so long, I felt like I deserved it.
Yeah.
Which is that weird feeling. You got to kind of battle it against. You can't think, oh, I'm pretty lucky, because you think, oh, I've worked hard to get to this point as well.
Yeah.
And just putting yourself out there can be a bit intimidating too, especially with the socials. Like, people can say what they want in the comments. And but it hasn't been too bad. There's always trolls around, but not too bad.
So I just want to say, I watched the video of you getting waxed.
Oh yeah,
right, and I've seen the 40-year-old virgin.
It's starting to grow back again.
You hairless wonder.
Yeah.
But honestly, like I watched it. I was watching it with my missus, and I was pissing myself laughing, man.
I'm glad.
It's it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Well, I'm glad like all my pain could pay off.
Your pain gave me enjoyment.
Yeah, and it's not very similar. It's a little bit different to what I normally do. I don't want to be one of those sort of like guys known for pranks, and but it was this thing of where I had wanted to actually, because I'm a hairy bloke.
Yeah.
And I don't. It's not like it. It's not like every day it's something on my mind, but it's, you go swimming in summer, conscious of it, and I would wear a shirt and stuff, and so I wanted to do that, and then I thought, it'd be funny to show people getting it done.
Yeah.
I had one actually. First one was done, wasn't filmed.
Yeah.
So it wasn't my first ever, but
wasn't the first wax.
Yeah.
You knew what to expect.
Being that radio, yeah.
It was when they were doing like the middle of your chest there.
Yeah.
And like I could see how coarse the hair was. And
it was really
strip
thick.
on. Oh.
Really thick in my cleavage.
Yeah.
What do you mean you're conscious of it in summer?
Well, I there's a bit of a stigma of hairy blokes, I think.
I'm fucking jealous, man. Like, to be honest, like I'm jealous because I got none. I'm still waiting for puberty.
Yeah. Well, we were talking about that. Why does, society says what beauty is, and so not that I want to be beauty, but yeah, you turn up. I was quite hairy, and no, I wouldn't say people aren't like, oh, look at that freak or whatever, but yeah, you feel a little bit self-conscious,
Yeah.
bit hairy.
How do you feel being in Bankstown? Like,
oh. This is my kind of. I'm
Yeah.
from the suburbs in Brizzy, Like that's my.
yeah.
I feel more awkward in a city.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my. I'm like not fully out, but it's like sort of similar thing. 20 minutes out of
Yeah.
CBD in Brizzy, Like, I'm from a suburb called Sunnybank, so. Yeah.
Nice. Man.
Shout out Sunnybank, by the way.
Yeah,
That's a first Sunnybank reference we've had on this podcast.
Well, it's well known in Brisbane for Asian population. So people come for the restaurants and Asian food. Yeah. And then there's also a great rugby league players from there. So yeah, and you're from there as well. Yeah. So it's rugby league player, Asian, and me.
A trifecta of brilliance.
Yeah, but again, I use some of the humour is from things I saw growing up, suburban sort of thing. I like to. Influenced a lot, but like the movie The Castle, that kind of thing. Yeah. Suburban Aussies.
Yeah. Nice. Well, man, walk around here, because I think if you walked around here, like I feel weird here sometimes in the suburbs, because I'm like the least airiest person in this suburb. I feel like a naked meerkat. Is that what they call it?
One of the Sphinx cats. The ball sack cat.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes I see dudes and wonder, is it? There's a lot of dudes are really smooth. Is it natural? Are they doing something? Or
they're getting. He's just a child, really.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
No, well, I'm in my getting towards my mid-20s, and still haven't got anything yet. So I don't know.
I'll give you my.
Yeah, you can have some.
I'll give you the ones that's trimmed off.
There was a lot.
Thanks, man.
There was a lot there. If you were selling that hair.
Yeah,
it'd be a very,
I try
very
to put
rich
a positive spin on it, keeps me warm in winter.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
In summer it sucked. It's really hot, but
yeah, I keep saying to my missus, I want to get rid of mine, and she's like, no, I like it, and I'm like, nah, like it needs to go. Having hairy nipples is a weird thing.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like,
I was worried when she peeled the waxing lady. I'm like, what are you gonna do with the nipples?
Yeah. You're worried the nipple's going with it.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing, is that's the only place I've got hair on the chest.
On your nipples?
Yeah, and it's like, I don't understand how this works.
Check out Hamish's OnlyFans account after this.
Hairy nips.
Nothing else.
But
hairless wonder.
yeah, it is I'd gone a long time without it, so I can live without wax. I liked it now too.
Yeah.
I think the body adjusts as well, because the first time my body freaked out, so these like little pimples popping up, and this time was a lot better.
Yeah.
I mean, after the waxing, yeah. But I knew I was conscious of, like, I wasn't trying to make. I knew it was done in that movie, 40-Year-Old Virgin. There's people commenting saying I've seen that before. I wasn't.
Yeah, that
a lot of the
doesn't
things
matter,
I
though,
don't
does
try
it? You know
and
what I mean?
claim.
But, like,
Yeah.
I hate when you do something, people try and say to you like, it's been done. It's like everything's been
done.
Yeah. Sometimes it's just people think the same thing or do something again.
Yeah. Well, it's like, so we're musicians, but like, so like most, you know, when people say, oh, it sounds like that, and you're like, yeah, well, there's only so many notes, and it's like with jokes, oh, that joke's quite similar. It's like, yeah, but if you're comedians and you have a thought process, you might end up near enough in the same place anyway, you know what I mean?
And some of the retro things, like with music, and even we're talking about like hairstyles before, like it's like passing it on, you know, the next generation. It's good to like, so things get passed on.
The mullet is in full flow.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
It's in the UK as well. It's happening now. It's happening. Yeah.
I think you get the credit for it. I'm going to say it first. You were the first, probably since what was the fella on the footy show years ago, like before that. Do you remember
Reg Reagan?
Yeah. And then it went away for like years, and you brought it back, and everyone my age had you as their, like a photo of you as their profile picture for this like weird time. And after that, everybody came out with the mullet.
Well, it was funny how it started, because it was me doing it. I wasn't like 100% behind it. Like, this is something I want to do. It was this kind of joke thing, because I'd grow my hair for different things. Probably a lot of people probably had this phases in your life, whatever you're interested in. So I was like, just straight long hair. Another time was like trying to do the dreads thing, and then
that's a strong look.
Yeah, I always think if I still had a pic, it'd probably be popular if I posted it. But we didn't do pics back then.
No.
Pre having camera on your phone, you're a weirdo if you're like, can we do a pic together?
Yeah.
Now it's just another done thing, but I had a lot of different things. So I was growing my hair, then I was gonna cut my hair, but I thought, wouldn't it be funny just to like leave a back bit and like shave there and leave there? It wasn't even like I'll make a mullet sort of thing, but then, and also just in general too, like challenging views of, because there was I had it for a while now. There was a stigma around it. Now it's acceptable, which is silly when you think like having a stigma around a hairstyle, but it's that thing of like, it's like whatever, neck tattoos, things become more accepted.
Yeah.
I think even just tattoos at one point.
Tattoos has been huge over the last few years. Of like, even like, I don't know if it's the same over here, but I know cops at home weren't allowed tattoos, but now they are.
We had that here,
and it always had to be long sleeve shirts.
Yeah.
But it's like, as long as nothing's offensive on the tattoo, it's like, no, just show them.
I think now tattoos nearly all over your body is acceptable. It's still got like, if you see it on a face
one,
yeah,
face is different, isn't it?
Yeah, I know it's something to do with like being in jail. I think the
teardrop.
Yeah. I see a little bit of it. Still got a stigma, I think, but I was just challenging that a bit.
Have you got a watch tattoo on your arm?
Yeah, it's pretty silly.
What did you set the time to?
The time was when my daughter was born.
Oh, nice.
That way I can say it's lovely, meaningful to me, but also silly.
Yeah.
50-50.
That's cool.
But it's funny because I'm not even, some people are really into tattoos. They love it. And I'm not. It's the only one I've got.
Yeah.
Some people say it's a dive into the deep end.
Yeah.
Because some people work their way up. Like they'll start in a hidden area.
Yeah.
And gradually get to more visible.
Get a butterfly on the back.
Yeah. But then if I ever need to cover it up, I'll just put a real watch over it. Maybe like a job interview or something. Go in the court.
We had a big conversation about tattoos before, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it's like, I think because people always expect that I've got tattoos, and I like that I haven't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you must have. And I'm like, nah, it's just.
Yeah.
It's the.
That's what I like, playing against expectation.
Because people just assume all the time. And I'll say like I've got one on my lower back, but you'll never see it. You know what I mean?
Actually, that's true. Like, I get asked a lot, how many tattoos do you have? I'm like, none.
No?
Yeah.
It's probably becoming weird
hairy
now.
nipples, though.
They're so common,
Yeah.
Yeah. Hairy nipples, yeah, I've got no tats.
Got them. Got the tick, hairy nipples.
But,
I remember, like, with footy players, there's obviously smaller shorts, so you see more than you do an average people. And it's quite shocking when you, like, not now, but at first, when you see them on the legs. And
yeah.
especially, like, with AFL, they got the singlet, and so you can see a lot more tattoos. You know?
Yeah. I feel like footy players, like, made tattoos a bit more acceptable. Like, because all of a sudden, like, now it's probably weird to be a football player without tattoos.
Way back in the day, it would have been you were a full-on rebel if you had it. Like,
Yeah.
I've seen some photos of these footy players in the 60s, and then it was more strange to have it then. They'd have, like, I think there's more and more artwork has come in since then too, because it was like choice between the snake going around the sword or
barbed wire on the arm.
Yeah.
You know, in the native, I forgot what you
The
call it.
tribal tattoos.
Yeah.
Native, tribal.
I know a guy at home. He'll be watching this. Adam, this is on you, right? And he was in the army, comes back, gym head, yeah? And he gets a tribal tattoo. And I was like, who do you think you are, The Rock? I was like, what are you doing? Anyway, and then I worked with a guy, Paul, who's from the Cook Islands. And he's like, one night, he's like explaining to me his tribal tattoo. And he's like, no, this is quite literally my family tree.
Yeah.
And I went, what? And he went, yeah, that's what it is. It's like, oh, that's like my cousins. That. Yeah. So I called my friend up and I'm like, you've got someone else's family tree on your arm. You've literally got someone else's family on your chest.
Yeah.
It'd be like us getting Smith or Jones and we're not.
It's so ridiculous though. Just like another person's family. That's weird. Yeah. On another person's family on your arm.
Yeah. And I've heard of people getting like a Chinese word.
Yeah, I was gonna say that always concerns me.
They're the best ones. They're the best ones.
Oh, I was like, it would be funny. They're like, oh, this means peace and love, and then a Chinese person's like, nah, mate. Nah, that's it. That means
chop suey roll, bro. That's what you've got on you.
Pie. A lot of those. I guess it's, and then sometimes it's like they're on holiday and got a bit drunk or something.
Yeah,
that's my concern. Being blind and then getting a tattoo.
Yeah, well, mine was pretty silly. Like, I don't strongly regret it. Like, I know I'd probably go, you can get like laser removal, but I just like, I'm not like, oh, this is awesome. I like did it a long time ago. I was pretty young and just but it symbolizes my sense of humor too. I got a bit of a 100%. Weird sense of humor, because it's like people say things like, oh, it's usually get people going, what's the time? That's the big one. Sometimes I just get sick of it, so then I get my phone out and say like, oh, 2 p.m. Oh, no, I meant you. And I'm like, I know what you meant.
I know what you meant.
Yeah,
you knobhead.
It was like, some people, because I told you guys the truth, but sometimes I get asked and I'll say like, lunchtime. What does it mean? I'll say lunchtime or smoko or something, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just one. I recognize, like talking about the face and neck things, I recognize if you did something, you've got to prepare for what's the interest that's going to come.
Yeah.
You know, like face tattoo guys like, what are you looking at on the sitting on the train? I hate that because it's like, well, I was just accidentally caught your eye.
Yeah.
There was this girl and she had like bright blue hair. And I'm like looking at her hair and she's like, what are you looking at? And I was like, you can't have bright blue hair and not expect me to like not look at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's
like, whoa, don't look at this. And you're like, it's fucking bright blue hair.
And most of those things are attention seeking.
Yeah.
But that's what I was trying to explain. Sometimes it's just someone can have done something.
Yeah.
It's things are complicated in life, you know, even with, that's what I'm saying, like me putting stuff out on the socials and that, seems like I'm a look at me sort of person, but I'm not really.
I don't
like
think you
that
are.
either.
I don't think it comes across that way. You're like the everyman.
But all of those social things, you get lumped in with all those like influencers.
Well, we
I
have
struggle with that a lot, man.
We're YouTubers,
Yeah.
and I hate that I'm a
I hate the
YouTuber.
term, yeah. But no, it's funny you say
And we're
that 'cause
content creators. I don't like that.
it is just it's a platform you use.
Yeah.
I actually years ago before I started, I'd actually held off because I didn't want to get lumped in. And then sometimes you need someone who can like kind of inspire you. For me, have you heard of Arnie Donna? They're like a comedy group.
No.
Well, they do some comedy, like a lot of it's on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
But they showed me, looked at them, was like, because it's not like dumb, stupid humor. It's quite smart, and that's why I was like, oh, that inspired me. That it's not. It's just a platform. It doesn't have, because before that the humor was all just one sort of style. It was that like pranks and I know that's the sort of thing that easy to grab attention because they can write on it, like those type. I use the word obnoxious. I don't know if it's the right word, but a lot of humor on the internet then was like with your mates versus when you're with the girlfriend. And
Yeah.
a lot of that just I didn't want to do that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I think that's how like the people like Logan Paul and they got their start out of that
And
shit.
I don't like to dissect what I do too much, but there's a part of me that likes to think that when I did well was because I wasn't an alternative to a lot of that.
You're like Dusty Rhodes, the American Dream.
Yeah,
But it's Aaron Gocs, the Australian Dream. You're the Australian Dream. That's what you are. The everyman.
I was doing stand-up, right, for many years, and a lot of the stand-up comedians will put their clips up. And there's like the traditional like red curtain, microphone, all those cliche things of a comedy club. And I thought, like, maybe people are just sick of that, like, that's why I thought I started doing, it was at my parents' house, just put the webcam on, sit and talk. And I think when that shows up, people are like, this is a bit different and weird. But there's that funny thing too where I don't want to be known for that, so I try to steer away from it. Because I'd love to be known more for like acting and stuff.
Yeah. I suppose that's the thing, man. Like, we were talking about like YouTube. You can just use those platforms.
Yeah.
And even like use comedy, use your videos and whatnot. You use that as a launching pad to do whatever you want. You can do literally anything you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's what's funny what you said, because it's become a word, hasn't it? YouTuber. And it's literally a person who uses that platform.
Yeah.
But when you hear the word, there's certain things that come to mind.
Into mind straight away.
Like you said, those people, a lot of pranks, a lot of, what is it, reviews and... reaction. What is it?
Reaction videos. There's nothing worse than when you go to watch something on YouTube, like a video of something, and you think, oh yeah, like they've got the fucking like the stream for the UFC or whatever, like whatever it is, and you go on it, and then it's just you're looking at some guy who's watching it, and he's like, oh,
I want to see the actual thing.
Man, get your face off my screen.
Yeah. That's the difference nowadays, I think, is the power has switched. 30, 40 years ago, we just had artists. Now it's like the person who watches the Beatles would be as famous as the Beatles or something.
Yeah.
We reviewed the Beatles. That felt close to home, though. Yeah.
Well,
we reviewed,
I didn't mean
Get
you,
Back.
sorry.
No, that's all right. You know, Get Back.
Sorry if I've lumped you in.
I'll be honest, Alan, you just broke my heart there. All right. 10 minutes he's been in, he's already gonna make me cry.
Yeah.
Now we reviewed Get Back, like the Disney's, like the recording. We reviewed that and it smashed it, didn't it, on the views? And I was like, that's just because it's got the Beatles Get Back in it.
Yeah.
And it was good. It was quite good.
And we labeled it like Beatles Get Back review from us by a Scouser.
Yeah.
So we were able to kind of
legitimizes it a little bit more. But yeah, it's I don't know. I hate that I'm on TikTok. I hate that, but it's so necessary for this.
That's not what you tell me.
No, there's a lot of boobies on TikTok, all right?
Yeah.
A lot.
And you're doing the dances and all that. No, I stayed off for a long time. And then I caved in.
Well, I imagine there's a lot of people like, well, why aren't you on it? You know what I mean? Because
Well, there was
You've got a lot of fans, Aaron. You must realise that. Like this hairless man next to me here.
It's a little bit grim, but I had some mental health issues I was dealing with, so I didn't think it was too great. And I'm just still working at it, but I'm in a better headspace than I was.
That's good to hear,
yeah,
Nice.
but talking about the socials and that, did mess with my head a bit, all the likes and everything. And
I think, and that's a big problem. To be honest, it's a big problem for a lot of people. It's like,
and I
you
think
get
we're
so
only
used to the likes and the comments.
and us younger sort of people. You know, I'm gonna love I told you I'm a bit older, but I still like to think I'm in that.
Yeah.
But we'll just say the last couple of generations, whatever, people grew up 90s. They're the first to have dealt with this. They're kind of like the guinea pigs.
Yeah.
Because the older generations say back in the simpler time when we played with the hose in the front
Back
yard.
in my day.
Yeah. And there's good and bad about that. There's great things technology does, but it has this has opened up a lot of
that instant gratification thing.
Yeah.
That it is hard to deal with. I get that.
It turns you into someone you don't want to be too.
Yeah.
I've done like because you got like a private page and then the comedy stuff.
Yeah.
So I'll have put something out and looking through the likes. Checking which friends have liked it or whatever, and it's like you shouldn't be like that, but it turns you into someone. Why are you looking at and like, he's dogging me and
We have like weeks where we'll go really, really hard on the socials, and then we have like a little detox period because like otherwise, like I feel that 100%.
It gets too much.
Sometimes I'm jealous of bands and groups, and because I imagine they all have a login for the same page or whatever, and they share it, and I'm like, with a solo thing, you need a break from it, but you got to keep it up, kind of thing, or because it's what do you call it when there's millions doing it or whatever? It's like it's a jungle out there, kind of thing. Yeah. You're like it's a battle, and if I stop,
the thing about the phone as well, like you're saying, how old's your daughter?
She just turned 14, so it's a tough age. Yeah.
Oh yeah, well, she's into that now. You know what I mean?
Well, my oldest daughter, she's actually having a really tough time with mental health. We both had some issues, but she's really bad with it. And I mean, it might be there anyway. It probably would have, but the new stuff doesn't help at all. No.
I get that.
I mean, what I mean by is phones and
it's so we're talking about like on the socials kind of thing. I'll have it where I'm on my phone, and my missus is like, "Can you just put it down?" Yeah. Because I'm never fully involved. I have to say to Hamish sometimes, I just need to not for a couple of days because it's
addictive,
and it gets too in your mind.
Yeah,
and I'm checking how our videos are getting on in Hong Kong. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like I don't need to be looking at that.
Especially like, all this information we're overloaded with. And I'm like, what's the topic people are talking about? Do I have to talk about that or And sometimes you don't, like, because people are bombarded with things too.
Yeah.
Like.
There's a weird thing when you like do take a break from the Matrix, and then you start to know that you've got to go back to it and do stuff, and then it's kind of like readjusting. You feel your brain kind of readjust to go back into the Matrix to start posting a bunch of stuff, and just hit it with content, and you're like, oh, man.
Well, something I've noticed with different people I know, and the different levels. You have people who can control it perfectly, like just use it a bit. And then there's people who have to do the complete cold turkey. Yeah. That's what's funny. It's like one or the other. It's like, that's what I did, was just went fully off because it was so damaging to my mental health.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there's a lot of positive. It's good for me too, you know?
Yeah.
Because I put all my stuff through there. If I hadn't, I'd be back to like, no one knows who I am. Because coming up through the Brisbane circuit, I'd play stand-up. I don't know if the play is the right word. Whatever.
We always talk about this, don't we? To play a gig.
Yeah.
If you're doing stand-up, is it playing a gig?
Yeah, because we have this like who owns the gig thing. Is that the musician's trademark, or is it the comedian? Like, or do we share?
I'll use the word perform. You know.
Yeah.
That just covers all the bases.
We can share.
We can share.
We can share. Oh, we don't mind.
I think the word gig is all right. Like we're all doing a gig, but playing is probably. But yeah, we're coming through because if no one knows you,
Yeah.
you do these local gigs. Some of them are tiny, like 5 people there.
Yeah.
A lot of them get forced upon people, like they come and put a mic in when people are eating dinner in a restaurant or something. It's pretty brutal, but it toughens you up too. Like, because then now I'm in good stead from all those tough gigs over the years. Early years, like I just did a pretty tough one in Tassie last week.
Yeah.
But the guys who ran it were very apologetic. Like, we're sorry. And I'm like, it's all right, man, because I've got that tough skin.
Yeah, you've done it before.
Doing the apprenticeship. Yeah.
What was so tough about it? Just the crowd uninterested?
The Tassie one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like they weren't laughing much. The place was fine. It was in a brewery, but nice. You know, one of these real big breweries. Yeah, can just be like I'm humble enough to not expect huge laughter, but it is comedy is tough when you just hear silence.
Yeah.
Well, you know what they say about the Tasmanians.
No, I like Tasmania.
Don't be shitting on Tassie on this podcast, Hamish.
We just saw what? We lost 20 people. No. Or maybe it's 10. Little two heads joke there. No.
They had a hard time clicking on the video anyway.
Yeah, exactly. No, I love getting out to those places, but it is a roller coaster. Like, a great gig is like, this is so fun. I love this. And then opposite, obviously. It's
so hard, man, when you get a great reaction and you think, like, I said to, I can't remember where I did a couple of shows in Brisbane, and I was like, I'm done with this. I was like, I've been gigging like 10 years, and I was like, I'm just done with this.
And you have that great gig.
And then I had a great gig, and I went, oh,
keep it coming.
And then the last one I played wasn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's a
roller coaster.
People just didn't care.
Yeah.
And I think that's worse. I'd rather someone throw a bottle don't do it. I'd rather someone throw a bottle at me on stage than just be like uninterested.
I know what you mean. But we can sometimes, I don't like when comedians will say the crowd was bad or rude or if for being not much laughter, because that's just like default, isn't it? But then you get the ones where they yell at you but I mean, music and comedy is different. Like it can put you off if people talk and stuff. I had some talkers the other night. I had to tell them down in Victoria because it ruins it for everyone else as well.
Yeah, it does. Yeah,
90% of the audience can be behaving themselves lovely, and then there's a few just talking, and so not only audience can't hear, like the people around, it puts me off because you know that thing of when you're trying to think and someone else is. Yeah. Is that prank people do when you're counting something? They go like 22, 75, you know? Like,
yeah.
And it's like, yeah. But, yeah, I love it when...
Bankstown.
Oh, yeah. No, when things are going well, I love it. It's like one of the best feelings to just be doing a gig that's going well. And then opposite if it's not, it's like, can the stage just open up and swallow me?
Yeah.
Yeah, but... And especially comparing it to other feelings in life, like I played sports for many years, like never in good teams or anything. That was probably part of why the experience wasn't good, but also completely different feeling being creative, I think.
Yeah,
because that's like something you can be proud of. When people laugh at my jokes, I'm like, oh, I took an idea from scratch. Because a lot of the jokes they develop probably like a song, you know. You add parts to it, the timing. You gotta get the timing right and the punchline and that, and so you can be proud of that, you know, when people enjoy it. It's like, oh, compared to tackling or running with a ball, or sports very like reactive.
Yeah. But I wanted to ask too, because you're a Brisbane comedian. Do you know, we've had another Brisbane comedian on here before. Do you know Dave Eastgate?
Yeah, I do. I've known him for many years. Yeah, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He was very supportive of me when I started because he had a bit more experience.
Yeah.
And I've seen him give. I'm trying to think of the right word. Like give guidance.
Yeah.
Starting.
Yeah.
I was trying to say
nurture you a little bit.
That's a good one. I'd take them under your because I've tried. The funny thing I've done that with some people that I've come in starting up, and then I'm like, am I more experienced enough to be doing this or what? But I think you can always try and bring through younger people, you know, and
Yeah.
be proud of them and stuff. If I see someone who's like, I like the way they go about it and like their act, I'll try and take them under my wing or whatever.
I think
Yeah.
I think when you get someone who's like experienced in it as well, like I'll call you a veteran, but you know what I mean, who's played those bad gigs where you want the stage to swallow you up and, you know, dealt with knobheads in the crowd. When you've got someone who can just do that and just, it does lift you when you're brand new at it, you know, confidence wise and everything. To know you're not, because it's hard sometimes. I think like music, I don't know if it's the same with comedy, it's that competitive, really. You do need someone to tell you it's working.
Exactly, a different set of eyeballs.
Yeah. And someone to make you not believe your own bullshit as well.
Yeah,
is important.
And experienced people, the acts they like is when something comes along that's like, oh, this is a bit different, not something that everyone's doing, and that's why you see some of the acts who get nurtured.
Do you ever get jealous of other comedians?
Yeah, I do. Again, talking about mental health and stuff, that was another thing I had to battle against, and even there's two types of jealousy, I reckon. There's in terms of looking at people, what they've got and work, jobs, and, you know, like, why are they getting that? Why are they, and that's a very toxic sort of way to view. I had to stop that, because you just got to think, whatever they did, it doesn't end well trying to work that stuff out, because you're just going to be toxic, you know. You're going to talk. I don't like the word luck, you know. It's like, oh, they were lucky to get that, or because anything in life, there's an element of timing, right place, whatever, and then there's industry things too, like, you know, some of those words aren't nice, like networking, who you know, but the reality is, like anything in life as well, sometimes it is just a family member or a friend, or you knew someone, and I was even, because the local scenes were like very social based, so it's like who's hanging out at the gigs, getting along. You might get along with the mates with the gig person who runs it, so they'll put them on the shows. So because I wasn't out socializing, I was looking at things like, oh, they're only getting that because of their mate runs the thing. So that was quite toxic. And then the other part was looking at myself, my own act, and judging myself, and being like, looking at other acts, and why aren't I doing what they're doing, and why aren't I, when you go back yourself, you know, because what I do, I was looking at, say, some of these, you know, like Will Anderson, someone who's like very much covers, there's an old thing they say is like, what's in the news, which is like people covering popular topics. It's not necessarily news, but they can also be talking about Tinder and all these like current things, and I'm not really like that as much. So I was like questioning myself, why don't I do more of that sort of stuff? But I had some good chats with people who reassured me, where they said, people like you for who you are, so you don't have to do all that. You know?
I think it's easy to think you have to change to fit the mold as well, but it's not necessarily true. There's like, when people like it, like, they obviously, a lot of people got a great admiration for it, and, you know, you've been around so long because that is the case. So I think, although you can adjust to things, but to change your style and who you are, people just,
well,
I don't know if people,
there's always a worry.
Want it.
There'll always be some who want you to pump out that thing you're known for. Yeah. And then you don't really want to be pigeonholed as that. Yeah. And you want to your own sanity. You want to make new stuff, you know? I
think that happens in music.
Yeah, I was just putting the two together. Like, you're an interesting comedian in the fact that you're kind of like a famous musician who's had a hit. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of want to see like the, you know, like
the AC/DC, where they can just keep putting out songs about thunder and lightning and
like you.
Yeah, well, I do. People want me to redo the same sort of things, and I'm kind of battling against that. Where don't want to be pigeonholed. Yeah.
But do you like? So you mentioned like some acting and stuff and
Yeah.
doing that kind of stuff. How do you find that kind of like transition?
Well, I enjoy it because then it's like bouncing between like live performance and acting. It's good because, bounce between the two. Like I've just done a live tour now, which was really fun. And I was able to get some momentum. Like each show was a bit better than the previous. But also, each thing has its own uniqueness that makes it good. Like there's a lot of pressure on acting and filming because whatever you do in that moment is trapped.
Yeah.
Trapped on, I was going to say record or tape or I guess it's digital these days.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like in that, so the pressure is like whatever your line is in that moment, you go, I got to do this well.
Yeah.
It's recorded. Whereas live, obviously you can record live shows, but most shows, it's happening in the moment. Whatever happened in that room will never be captured again.
Yeah.
Do you get the same rush from it?
Yeah, I do.
That's good.
I like both, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever like if you don't get a take in the first couple like shots, right? Do you get anxious about it? Like, and then like, start overthinking it?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the hard things with comedy too is I don't want to compare to like whatever genre. I'm not saying drama or anything isn't hard. But one of the hard things about comedy is you're saying something silly, so you can't smile or smirk. But then sometimes with the other actor, we smirk at each other, you know, and then you get in this loop. It's hard to get out of. And we've got to do another take, and we stuff it up because you're saying something funny. There's this one a few months ago. There's a thing coming out soon called Emu Wars that we filmed.
Yeah.
I had to like, actually talk to these emu puppets, which is ridiculous, you know. But there was two of them, and that's why it's so hard to keep a straight face because, basically the scene was so, it's so silly, it's ridiculous, but that's what comedy's meant to be.
Yeah.
So there was a baby emu like here next to me, and I'm at the door, and I'm like, talking to this baby emu, and then the door opens, and it's like the emu's stepdad. And so I had to go from talking to this one. The door opens up, and I got to like just keep a straight face talking to these bloody emus. And they're like puppets. And so I had to talk to the baby one. The door opens up, and there's the big emu speaks. It's like, oh, hi, Timmy, or whatever the little baby was called. And I'm like, oh, shut up, Daryl. I had to say that to the, you know. And it's just these ridiculous situations. We got to keep a straight face. So that's a hard thing of comedy.
How many takes did that?
Oh, quite a few.
Because that'd be...
And they're like, the director's like has to say to me, because this director I've worked with quite a bit, he knows I've got like a smoking problem. So what he says to stop it, he goes, it's not funny. You know, like picture it's not funny. And I always say, the writer's standing right there, and it'd be funny if the writer's like, all right, easy for you to say. Like, the writer and director, like, it's not funny, you know, but that's almost, unfortunately, you've got to get to that point where you don't think it's funny.
Yeah.
Stop yourself. And it's like hard with stand-up too, because you're saying funny stuff, you got to keep a straight face, yeah.
So is somebody actually doing the voices of the puppets there, or you're just imagining that the puppets are talking back to you?
I think they're going to put it in.
It's going to go
voices post, but there's someone there was like, you know, puppets say they sticks to move them out. So yeah, I was physically talking to like emu, puppet emus. I mean, yeah.
It sounds like a weird therapy session.
Yeah, it's going to be out soon. I'm excited, but keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
What's it called? Emu
Wars. Yeah, and because I don't know if you know the history, but like 100 years ago, that's what they called it, Emu Wars. But it was just, it was the actual thing was just overpopulation of emus.
Yeah.
But that's where I guess the humor comes from in the series is imagining that it's people versus emus, you know?
Yeah.
But the funny thing too is, as it sometimes happens in Hollywood, apparently there's another one being made at the same time, and it's a bigger budget because ours is like small independent.
Oh, really?
Because you know that happens in Hollywood.
Yeah.
The famous one was Ants and Bugs Life.
Yeah, at the same time they came out.
But then there's been like there was the like White House getting taken over by
Oh,
terrorists.
White House fallen or something.
And there was like Olympus.
Yeah, Olympus has fallen.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the same
White
films.
House down, I think.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, there's quite a few cases.
No Strings Attached
Yeah.
and Friends with Benefits. Same film. Literally the same film.
Rom-com, yeah. Well, I remember the 90s, Armageddon, and there was another like...
Independence Day?
Independence Day.
No, it was literal, because that's Aliens.
Yeah.
The other, it might have been like Southern... No, not Sudden Impact. That's, Deep Impact,
Deep
maybe?
Impact.
I think Sudden Impact's Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
But yeah, the
Goat.
disaster movies were big in the 90s. There was two volcano ones as well, similar time.
Yeah.
Yeah, so...
I think
Sorry, we're taking this over.
No, it's
with,
okay. Was it Volcano and then Twister came out as well? I remember they were all,
there's a lot of those different disaster.
I was saying
When you said disaster, I thought you meant there's a movie called The Disaster Movie,
That's awful.
which is literally the worst movie.
awful.
Yeah.
It is a
Oh,
disaster.
yeah.
Have you seen Mars Attacks?
Oh, I think so, yeah.
And Jack Nicholson's in it.
Yeah.
You need to watch that.
I need to. Yeah.
You need to watch that. It's like one of the best spoof films.
Yeah. He's been telling me for weeks. I've just
you
haven't.
need to watch it. He just doesn't listen to me. This is the problem, man.
Yeah.
So-
No, that was Dante's Peak was the other volcano one.
Oh,
There's one
okay,
just
yeah.
called Volcano. But yeah, that was the 90s, a lot of like running away from things. Yeah. Just,
End of the world shit going on.
yeah.
I think yours will be better.
Yeah, well, you know what was funny? Because, like, we were keeping track of it. So, reading news about this bigger budget one.
What's it
secretly
called? What's it
hoping-
called?
I think it might be Emu Wars as well. But I think... I think Jim Jeffries is involved, you know.
Oh yeah.
Jim
Maybe-
Jeffries is
yeah.
doing it as well. He's
And,
going to war with you,
and
Jim Jeffries.
but not involved in ours. And going to war is in two movies against each other, yeah. But I think John Cleese is in the other one. So it's pretty high.
No.
He
Get.
He spoke about
But
that.
yeah,
on
so
tour.
we went and saw him at the Enmore, right?
Yeah.
And basically, he was talking about doing this production with show,
That's this,
and basically gave John Cleese COVID.
Oh. Well, that's what we were reading about things. Obviously, on set we were filming, and you stop for lunch or whatever. So we're just chatting, and we're saying, you know, half jokingly, well, not more than half, I shouldn't say half, mostly jokingly, hoping things would happen to them, you know, because they're our rivals. And so we're reading about like someone's dropped out, or
Yeah.
not like a voodoo doll, like poking it. Well, I say half jokingly, you don't really want anything, you know.
yeah.
You just put it out. But it will be a bit awkward if it comes out similar. Or
Well, at least your one's filmed in Australia. You've got
Yeah.
that, yeah.
And it's just different. It's just different. It'll just be different. Like
'Cause
there's just big budgets. So
Yeah.
it's probably more... Our lo-fi look is more just fun. And
Well, for the first time in my life, I don't want John Cleese to succeed.
that's the thing. It's like you guys are
You're going against
yeah.
Basil Fawlty.
Yeah. Let us have our little independent thing, you know.
Yeah.
No, it'll be interesting to see how it goes, because I guess if theirs is bigger, it might take more time to get it all put together.
Mm.
Yeah.
Then we can come out first and say you copied us.
Yeah, he copied us, John. John
Yeah.
Cleese. You thief.
I know. He's had his time.
Next, he'll be coming out with a mullet.
I don't think he's getting a bullet, is he?
Because nothing against him, obviously comedy legend and that, but he is one of those guys who's coming out with the like you can't say anything anymore. So.
To be fair, I mean, it's always funny to say to be fair, isn't it? It's like when you say I'm not being racist, but usually something fucked up comes out after that. That joke in Fawlty Towers, with the German guy, and he says, and they're like having an argument, and he goes, "Well, you started it." And he's like, "What do you mean you started it? You invaded Poland."
Yeah.
That is fantastic, and he's doing the goose step.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that is comedy gold, but that's not allowed anymore. But yeah, he's just one of them. But like what's ridiculous about that is when they made Life of Brian, Monty Python made Life of Brian, there was huge backlash over that film
Yeah.
because you know the depicting Jesus.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the church kicked off about that. And they were like the front line of, oh, you know, it's comedy and comedy has a place. But like I get that. They had all that moment. But I think with comedy, I think the punching down thing is just...
absolutely. I think there's a place for respect and
Yeah.
just being nice, and because some people are very, very big on the whole like you should be able to say what you want, you know, like Ricky Gervais and that.
Mm.
The thing about that, I just think is, I think decency, common decency, you know, it's like that thing of going pretty deep here, but it's like hopping up for people on the bus. Like a sign can say hop up for old people. Most decent people, it's in your heart, isn't it? The same with like people like, oh, nothing should be off limits. I think like you still want to be respectful to people, and you wouldn't sort of joke about someone's if their like partner just passed away or parents or what, you know, like.
I think it's the morality of it, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I do agree with that. Not punching down because, like, you know,
I always
people have enough shit going on in their lives,
and it's very easy humor sometimes to belittle people. And remember, like the footy shows used to go out to like, you know, suburbs with battlers, go to the mall, and it's an easy laugh. Go and find someone who doesn't have his teeth and he's not talking properly, and you just feel like like you said, punching down. That's very easy, crappy humor, I reckon.
Yeah. It's cheap, isn't it?
Sometimes the worst crappy humor is the easiest to think of, the quickest, and you've got to. You're like, I'll think of something. I'm like, no, that's too. You know, you got to be better than that.
Yeah. Well, I suppose I forgot how wild the footy show really was until I started seeing some like old playbacks and stuff. And you're just like, wow, they got away with some shit. And also like old playbacks of Hey Hey It's Saturday. Yeah.
It is interesting watching old things as like a time capsule.
Yeah.
When I watch old Hey Hey It's Saturday, it's like I
fucking
realize it's so hyper too. There's so much going on. Like no one really does that anymore. You watch an old Hey Hey.
Cocaine's not as big as it used to be. Though.
But even saying that, there were I don't know, like there were older people doing all this stuff too. You know, it's like. So you watch Hairs, like Daryl would say something. There was a guy up in the booth who was like making voices, and he would write stuff.
Yeah.
Like a guest would be on, and they'd go like, "Oh, what a loser!" Or I don't know. It didn't say what a, you know. It was just hype, and then Russell Gilbert would be standing in the audience, and he'd have a punchline.
Yeah.
And then there's like puppets and
well, that's what I was thinking of when you said you're talking to emus. I was like, my mum,
that's so hyper. There's something going on here.
Yeah.
Australian radio is something that gets me, you know, because you swear. I listen to Kyle and Jackie O, you know, the Kiss show.
Yeah.
And they were ringing their parents up, asking if they knew what a butt plug was.
But that's
10 to 9 in the morning on a Thursday.
That's the shock jocks. Like,
He
got in trouble years
ago too. Like, it's just crash.
Asking people stuff like about something traumatic happened in their lives, and
he gets in trouble every year, I think. Yeah, because he got in trouble a couple of years ago for like with all the religious groups. Like this is last year when that happened.
And he's like, they're not nice people, but then and they get massive amounts of money too.
Yeah,
I think it's like crazy. Who knows how it all works?
Yeah,
but some of that. But like saying that, but then in some ways it'll be very censored and watered down in some
not compared to UK radio. Even like the WAP on, you know, the Nicki Minaj song. I don't listen to Kiss, by the way, unless Gordy's watching. Hi, Gordy. But then I listen to your show. But Cardi.
Everyone says they don't listen to these channels, but someone's listening.
Someone's got to, because they're fucking number one in Sydney, I think.
Yeah.
But
I chuck Triple M on every now and then just to like switch off. But
wet ass pussy, but and I was like, oh, this is like 9 a.m. and this is just on the radio. You know what I mean? Kids in the car. Someone
got in trouble for that.
Strange, man. Very strange.
Yeah, that was a weird that song became like number one over lockdown all around the world, and just like that, Do you remember? Like it was just kind of weird. Like before that, there was just like regular songs, and then all of a sudden, we're getting an instruction manual for how
Wet
to.
ass pussy. What's that like having daughters and like daughters being exposed to shit like that? That can't be nice.
No, it's weird. It's like, and like for me trying to work out how to deal with it too. But like I was driving my daughter and her friends around the other week, and her friends playing because they can just play stuff on their phone. Playing some rap song with the bloke saying all this stuff he wants done to him. And I'm just like, do I address this? Maybe they're not listening to the lyrics. Maybe it just all blends into the song. She's only she's in the last year of high school. That's primary school. They're still young.
Yeah, I don't think you're paying attention to words because, like, if I look back at songs that were big when I was a kid, now I go, "Oh, that was fucked up."
And then, and learning later on what it means and stuff.
Well, like I think I was pretty innocent at that age. I thought Flow Rider's whistle was really about a whistle.
I still think it is.
Yeah, we're very what is the word? Just like not exposed to much. It's just
naive,
just innocent.
Yeah, naive's a good one. Yeah, just think the best of something. Yeah,
it's like what's the song? Pumped Up Kids. Pumped Up Kicks.
Yeah,
is about a school shooting.
Apparently,
Yeah.
But then you listen.
But it's a banger.
I thought it was about
Choice
shoes
of
or
words.
something. You know.
Yeah.
I'm thinking kicks like shoes. Yeah.
Better run faster than my bullet.
Well, when you put it like that, you can kind of see
It
it.
just shows that melody comes first, lyrics later.
Yeah, leave the melody in. Melody wins, guys.
Yeah. When I heard that song too, I wasn't thinking about
You
kids.
just think, oh, it's a tune.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh.
It has so many hits over the years, like the lyrics are nonsense.
Yeah.
It's just the sound people want, you know?
Well, yeah, I think a lot of pop music is just that, isn't it? It's like, what's the easiest word we can put in here? And then it's like, okay, there it is.
Well, like the Beatles' first hit, right? Like I was like, She Loves You. And you go listen to that and break that down in your car, and you're like, this isn't any, like the lyrics of this song are rubbish, but the song is great. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think
it's just melody carries that whole thing.
The time of when that was a hit as well. It's like, like they mention love, I think like 300 times in the songs, the Beatles. They went soft. But
that was their early days, though.
Yeah.
Before if they had rewritten that 10 years later in India, it'd have like 7 minutes and sitars and stuff.
Could have been a better song, that's what I'm saying.
I've got a version of that song upstairs on like a 45 record, but it's recorded in German for like the Germans to listen to the Beatles at the time.
Oh yeah,
and it's so trippy.
Is it?
Yeah, because it sounds like John and Paul, but it doesn't sound like John and Paul.
So it is actually them. But
I think so, because the tone of the voice sounds like it's them, but the pronunciation's weird.
Because
I'll show you after.
You know, with like DVDs, you'd put something on and remember, like, say, The Simpsons.
Yeah.
You'd go through the different languages.
On Spanish.
And some of them are close, but then some, you got like Portuguese, Homer's like high pitched or like. Like,
Ay, caramba!
yeah. Just like. They didn't even try. They're like, maybe it was very limited, the translators they could get.
I remember being in Mexico when I was a kid, right? And I used to love WWE, right? Put Monday Night Raw on, and it was all in Spanish.
Yeah.
It was like, Costa Moral! And it's like, you know, como si está, The Rock! You know what I mean? It was like, oh, shit.
It is funny on YouTube, some clips are put up by foreign people. So I was like looking for like Heartbreak High or something, and it's got all these like French. Because it's surprising to know which countries like what things, and there's no rhyme or reason to it.
You know what's funny? Like when the Squid Games came out, and I watched the whole thing in English, and then afterwards I was like, I wonder what it sounds like in Korean, and just listen to it in Korean. 2 different worlds, right? Like the version that we got and the version that they got.
I didn't watch it because isn't the dub like really bad?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
Like the old like samurai movies, and it was like, I will get you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I will get you again. You will not stop until we are together.
Yeah,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
They're awesome, them. They're awesome.
And sometimes like Sometimes a really small English sentence will go forever in another language.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this weird scene within the Squid Games, right, where they're in English, and she's like, "You can't take your, you can't let them take your daughter because they will take them to America, and then she will only know English, but speaking in English in the dub, like you know what I mean. So it's just this weird mind.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
doesn't make sense. I love that. So like actors, you'll end up with this, Aaron. This will happen very soon for you. You get like a Spanish Aaron. So
I
they'll
wanna
find someone like a Spanish guy who sounds like you, so that when
Are you dubbing yours in Spanish? Emu Wars, is it coming out in
it
Spanish?
better be,
Not that I know of.
it better be.
Getting a Portuguese.
¿Dónde está Emu Wars en español?
I want to approve of anyone who replaces me.
But like, so like they'll find someone who sounds like you, who's like Spanish, and then he'll do it in Spanish. So it does, when you listen to it, you go, oh, is that him speaking Spanish?
Yeah.
Voice guys and
But
girls.
that's what I was saying before. Often it will, and then sometimes they don't even try, or they couldn't get someone.
Yeah,
close.
yeah.
Yeah. Just like, is that the best you could get? Like, remember The Simpsons when they had the fake family and there's like an Estonian.
Oh yeah, scary.
Yeah.
It used to scare me. You know, the Halloween episodes used to fucking terrify me in The Simpsons.
Yeah.
I think anything. Yeah. I had a scary one. There's that gremlin's trying to attack Bart on the bus. That was scary. Yeah. I used to get freaked out by like.
Such a Bob.
I watch the things I shouldn't watch right before bed. Unsolved mysteries.
Me too. I've just finished this Netflix series called The Haunting, and like fucking terrifying thing to watch before you go to bed. But every night I kept coming like home and watching it.
Yeah.
Kept doing it to myself, and
Sometimes we do things we shouldn't do. When I was down in Hobart, I was walking over the bridge there. There's like a huge bridge. I don't know if you know about this, but in the 70s, there was a disaster. A ship hit it, and a pylon collapsed, and some people in the boat died, and then some cars accidentally drove because it was like late at night. They didn't know. They just that's really sad. But the time I decided to read about this was while I was walking over the bridge.
Oh my god!
And it was actually quite high. Not many people walk there. It's mainly a driving bridge, but the highest peak is like high, windy. I'm trying to hold on to my phone, make tight so I don't drop it. And I'm reading about this disaster.
Aaron, I just want to tell you that's a fucking terrible time to read about that.
Yeah, I've just realised that, I could have done it any other time.
Aaron, that's like the worst possible. Do it when you get home.
I know. So, like, my mind is thinking about this disaster that happened.
Yeah.
And then, like, it talked about the people sinking to the bottom. And it was like 35 meters water. While I'm going over this thing, it's not a good time to know about. Sometimes you're better off not knowing things,
Yeah,
Like, a river's deep, but to me, it's probably like 4 or 5 meters, like 35 meters. That's crazy.
But at least you would have got to feel like some of the. You're when you're reading about it though, you're feeling the terror.
I love like true crime. And I'm just not listening to that shit before bed, man. Like, fucking, you wake up and it's like, Jonathan killed 14 people, and you're like, oh, fuck. Not a good time.
And when they say stuff like, they get into the human mind and they're like, there is nothing to stop anyone doing this again. It's like, okay, calm down.
Is that an advertisement?
Because I would watch, when I was a kid, I would watch Unsolved Mysteries. And it had this spooky music, just like, do, 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 do.
Yeah.
And then they'd kind of end with like, because it's Unsolved Mystery, they're like, he is still out there to this day. Yeah. And but it was America, right? But I was a kid. I didn't understand what that meant.
Yeah. You didn't understand geopolitical borders back then, Alan.
I didn't know that like America's this place that's on the other side of the world. Like,
I love those shows, and it's like, or did he?
Yeah.
Or were they?
Like,
you know what I mean?
Leaving it open.
Yeah, little cliffhangers in there, and then it'll go to a commercial, come back 5 minutes, and then it does the whole 5 minutes again of what John Matthews was just a normal boy from Winston, Massachusetts. I don't know if that's a real place. And then it'll just do it or was he? And then you're back into the killing spree again.
Yeah.
It's fascinating though. It's fascinating.
On that topic though, there are some like freaks out there. I was watching this show, I think it might have been on the SBS or something, but it's about these people that are like basically like fucked and they want to go get this experience, right? They're like life's not, there's nothing thrilling enough. So they hire this guy who's an ex like war veteran in the US to like torture them and like waterboard them and like throw them in the back of the car and apparently they get and then they can quit at any time.
I've seen this.
Yeah. And you think, what kind of person wants this experience?
Yeah. There's some weirdos out there.
And people are like paying big money for this. And you're like,
That's fucked up. No chance.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Like a haunted house wasn't enough. I went to the haunted house here at the Easter show this year, and somebody came up to me with a chainsaw, and I was like, I'm done here.
Holding in your peas for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
Aaron, big news for me this week as an Englishman. Lizzie.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Depending on
She
what
had
you
a
think
good-
of Royals.
She had a good run, though.
Yeah.
96.
Yeah.
No, good.
I'll be happy with that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
It's a little bit grim talking about your own innings, but
Yeah.
I think that's too old.
No, she was doing 3 cocktails a day, and she lived into a mid-90s. So I
Yeah,
think
it's the best science on the planet. She's getting out in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, getting doctors that we've never even heard of or know about. That's just her doctor
yeah.
pilling her up, keeping her warm.
That's what I always think. It's like, don't rich people have more access to stuff, but they still
Human.
like money can only do so much. There's no money can stop like
Yeah.
cancer or whatever.
Well, I think that have you seen the new Top Gun?
No, I
Val
haven't.
Kilmer's in it, and like he got throat cancer, and they could have removed it, and he's like a spiritual guy, so he was like, no, I'll go and see a shaman and all that, and now he's lost the ability to speak, and like he's in Top Gun and he can't speak, and it's really sad. Like, and he there's a film coming out about his life, and his son narrates the film as him because they sound the same.
Yeah.
But like his voice is gone, and like he's Val Kilmer. He could have had access to
That's
the
more of a-
best of everything.
It's more of a belief thing.
and his belief said no. Well, Gandhi did it, didn't he?
Yeah.
Gandhi's missus got sick,
and
and the British were like, "Oh, we'll give you," and he went, "No, we'll sort it our way." And then she died, and then he got the same thing, and they were like, "You won't want that medicine either, then, will you?" And he's like, "You'd fucking think that." But
Thought I changed my mind.
I think
I've
Bob
changed my mind.
Marley was a toe.
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
They said, "I'll have a few joints. I'll be right."
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so Aaron, as we start to wrap up, what's coming next? What's the next
Like I said,
stage?
I'd love to do some more acting stuff. So
Yeah.
hopefully Hollywood gives me a call, or whatever the Australian. What's the Australian version of Hollywood? Fox Studios or something.
Yeah. Well, what's going on at the moment? Because everyone seems to be going up to like in between like Brisbane and Sydney. So it's like everyone's moving to Coffs Harbour or Byron. Like, what's going on up there?
I don't know, man. Must be. Is that like the 5G thing?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. But I know like that new Elvis movie that came out, they went and filmed it there. Like and some of the Avengers stuff has been done out there and Chris
I
Hemsworth,
guess,
Russell Crowe all buying houses out there now.
Often it's obviously they need the look or whatever,
Yeah.
but often it's the look of the area or whatever, but
Yeah.
Tax breaks.
funding, some states. Even like America, I know they go state by state. It's like Georgia or whatever will give tax breaks and stuff, but like I said, lower budgets. The things I do, bit more independence. They use some get some like grants from some of the government departments and that. So once you do that, you kind of whatever they want you to use, you have to.
Yeah.
So they
Even
might
their
say
parameters.
like I think Queensland they usually call them screen something's like Screen Queensland.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'd love to do that. Involved in and then just keep the stand up and just keep going as best as I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That seems like a natural transition for comedians too, like just to go into acting.
Yeah.
And I feel like you guys are better fit for it anyway, because like you, because like actors, I feel like that I've met, some of them have the weirdest attitudes I've ever met in my life, and I feel like when
Hamish was nearly a child star.
Oh really?
Yeah, he had a little run in Tinseltown.
Yeah, and I was like, at the time, this wasn't for me, because there's like some people that are like super weird about it. Like, it's almost like a cult, the acting world in itself.
Well, some of the parts I've found. So when I get work, more often than not, it's where they already want me, so they've just asked, and I don't seem to do well with auditions, and I will be up against actual actors who've studied, and I haven't. Well, like, cause my apprenticeship's more that coming through the local stand-up scene.
You've done something else.
Yeah. But in terms of acting, but it can be, they've already decided, like, they know what I look like, what I do, so yeah. So hopefully get more offers, and
I think you will. You will. Well, Alan, it's been an absolute pleasure having you.
Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you for being honest and open, and thank you for coming in. Thank you for making his fucking life.
Oh man, yeah, thank you, dude. Like,
no worries. It's the same thing, It's what I love doing these things, and yeah,
man. Like you were. 2015, you were my profile picture on Facebook for a year. Now it feels like I've met the guy behind it.
You should take a photo of him in the studio and make that your profile picture now.
Yeah, it's cool. Like, I'm having the same things, like meeting people along the way that were big influence and heroes. They say never meet your heroes, but
Yeah, this has been a good experience. Yeah.
Glad you liked
it. And I follow your your Instagram pretty like over lockdown and stuff pretty religiously, and seeing where you were like eating and like doing some like stuff at some breweries and things like that, and I was like, you never changed really, which is good. Like you seem to always be yourself, which is cool.
Thanks for that. Yeah, I'm glad people like it. I appreciate it. Obviously, it's stuff that I think will be funny or enjoyable, so I put it out.
Yeah,
that's what I was saying about the platform. It's literally just a platform. So
yeah,
I don't really believe in there's a style that has to be internet or
Jack, you were like a couple of weeks ago, I was explaining like who you were to Jack, and like I couldn't. You're like a force of your own. Like you can't really say he's like X and X, because you're not. The closest thing I could say to you is you're like the guy you have at every job you do. There's like one funny kind of guy that's in that you work with.
You're that guy.
You're that guy.
I decided to go public with it. No,
you're that guy on stage. You are the Australian
the man's
dream.
man. Yeah,
the Australian dream. You're Dusty Rhodes for Australia.
Oh, thank you.
That's you, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been great getting to know you, and thank you very much for coming in.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, everybody at home, for watching.
Yeah.
These are all superstars.
I forgot about the
cameras. Yeah.
I hope I haven't been picking my nose too much.
No, I've been picking mine.
I think that's a good thing. It's like we just like guys having a yarn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You forget these are here. That's the best time. Yeah. The best time to do it. Subscribe to our Patreon. The link is right here. Cheers.
Beautiful.
Thank you.